So I was thinking these names. Carrie Mullins. Carrie was crazy lady number two. And the other lady over there that I rented after Carrie was crazy lady number three. Her and I did not get along at the beginning. She didn't want me out. She didn't want me there. She wanted me out of there. Well, let me tell you about Carrie. Carrie begs me to move in because we went fishing together a few times. I took her out a few places. She was my age. I don't know what they were thinking, but me and women didn't get along. Now, the other lady over there that was looking at me, and she has some questions to ask me, so I answered. So I didn't do anything like that. I mean, if someone cares, it's not my problem, but people are concerned. And Carrie, I paid her $1,885 electric bill. She kicked me out 3 days late. When I didn't smoke pot, I didn't drink, and I was too smart for her. We started being friends and everything, and then she got to where she didn't drive with me or anything else. And she acted like she just did not want me around, so I left. What I should have done is I should have canceled the check and taken it and put it back in my account. I could have. I gave it to her, so she didn't have to hurt anybody else. Carrie died 3 years later. Carrie Mullins. Laura Mullins, I grew up with. Grandpa knew her dad. I met her when she was 8. I was 10. Or I figured out there's a 4-year difference. She only told me there was a 2-year difference. So anyway, we were we started dating, and I had an episode. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into it, but I ended up at a halfway house. My mom said she couldn't take care of me, so they put me in a halfway house. I got out, went back home. Um, I took myself off my medicine. I didn't need. I had seen something. No, I had a doctor, Salter, come up to me and say, we know a lot more about stuff like that than we used to. Want to hear about your experience? No, it's over. I'm done with it. Um, I had a daydream about Laura's mom tell me to take good care of her, lead her to Christ, and I was like, what the hell is that all about? And I started screaming. I started throwing a fit. And every day at sunset, I'd feel stuff. I freaked out. Mom put me put me in that place, and I got out. One guy told me, he goes, you need to keep your mouth shut. There's too much stuff. Well, yeah, I was on the Saratoga project. I couldn't talk about it. I was in a ship. I couldn't talk about it. I wasn't captain or anything, but I was there, and that was about that time. We were in a valley. There was an accident that day. A guy killed on the road. The guy at the hospital was talking to me. He said, you had a door open. And I figured that was pretty much the truth about what happened. So anyway, 50, 60 years later, I'm talking about, 50, 55 years later. Now that would put us about 8, 10. It had to be 45 years later. That happened, and we ended up on the Saratoga project. Now, I had a friend of mine who was a cop. We were living in Grand Junction, and they were coming across through the wall, getting in Linda's room. Yeah, she was like 5 years old. And she'd come up to me, she was calling me Daddy. kind of funny. Daddy, somebody's in my room. Okay, I found out she was right. So the guy that was the policeman became a hypnotist. Now he was going to move in across the street from us, our next apartment behind us. And he goes, I can't move in here. I put over half these people in jail. I'm like, okay, nice apartment I live in. Now, one guy that really, really big dude that I would talk to, nobody else would talk to because he was big and he was scared. And we shared a few experiences together. I told him what happened to me. He wanted to know. So I told him. I said, why are you telling me this? I said, you asked. It's personal. I mean, you want to get personal? Well, I have a story. He goes, it doesn't even bother you, does it? I said, no, it doesn't. It's just something that happened. And he was another one that said, yeah, you had the door open. Okay, whatever. So all that happened. And that guy, the one that went is going into the apartment and everything else. Now, we had this friend named Tom. And Tom was a big guy. And the guy stole Candy's jewelry box. It had gold in it, it had silver in it. Really, the jewelry box was worth probably $10,000 that time. And she had memories of people that she used to take care of because she was a nurse. And Tom Sykes comes back up. And I watched him come out of the apartment and walk down the stairs. Well, he walked down top the railing and all. I'm like, damn, that's a pretty good trick. I would have been nervous. He was longer leg than I was and everything else. Tom and I were pretty good friends. We kind of grew up together. He dated my sister. So anyway, that happens, and she gets her stuff back. The other guy doesn't bother us anymore. And Tom said something about him going to the little girl's room. He's lucky. I don't know. It really pissed me off. Anyway, I went through that. Her fighting with a neighbor and all that other stuff happened. Then I end up with Laura again. I came to, oh, you left me just to be with Laura. I said, no, I left you because you're such a bitch. I can't handle you. And okay, neither can anybody else. So as far as I know, she's gone. She might be alive. My sister might be alive. I don't know. I doubt it though. I probably shouldn't say this, but I had another incident with her. There was this car on the highway. I was in my truck. He was coming out. There was 4 or 5 cars. They all separated. He came flying through about 90 miles an hour. He missed me. He hit the curb, flipped over, landed upside down, and slammed into another car. Right? So I took off. I wasn't involved in it. I didn't have to be a witness. So I was working for Prime. I called Prime and said, did I need to stop? They said, no, you don't need to stop. So I ran out of hours right around that area. So I parked over at this rest area. The sheriff shows up. I'm thinking, oh no, okay, this is where I get a ticket. I was kind of nervous, so I went over and talked to him. He said, did it scratch you or anything else? You can check the truck, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no marks on it. I didn't want to be there, so I didn't show up. I left. I called the works. They said the same thing. So the officer stays the night over there, watches me. And I go in, I cook something to eat, I offer him something to eat. He said, no, I'm just supposed to stay here. So I get up in the morning about 6 and I take off. The officer's gone. And he drives by me and he looks at me and he goes like this, which means I did the right thing. I didn't have to be there. They looked at the videos, they looked at the cameras and everything else. Um, I had a dream. My sister, a few days later, came to me in a dream, and she said that she moved the car. She pushed it away. And I said, thanks. She said it would have hit me. Well, probably would have hurt me, but it would have probably the truck would have blown up. But they had a big old problem on my hands. We would have got out of it, but it wasn't my fault. And she looks at me, and I see her walking up in the clouds. And she goes, "Did you really love me?" I said, "Yeah, I did." And I still did. And she smiled. And that was it. So that was wild. Now, I was talking to Marcus Gray about that. He said he's had similar experiences with a family member. I'm just way too sensitive. I'm different. I'm born both sexes. I have had experiences and everything else that I can't explain why they happen the way they do. And the Saratoga project was just crazy, the stuff that was going on. Diane and I had a few wild moments too that I forgot about things. I'm looking down at this shoreline and I see that road. I'm thinking, I know that road. It's by a beach. I think it's in, don't tell me where it's at. I think it's in the UK. Let's see where it's at. I'm gonna have to get out of here soon. Not gonna let me do it while I'm here.